What's going on, guys? Welcome back to United View. How is everybody doing? Hope you're all doing very well, having a good Thursday evening, nearly at the end of the week, nearly at the end of the season, Flex. You've had a busy afternoon as well. I saw in the last couple of minutes or so, and actually saw today on YouTube Shorts, but I saw in the last couple of minutes or so, the silver plaque is officially at home in UVHQ. How was that?
Amazing. It was amazing popping it open. Like I said on the little short clip there, big up to you lot, man. It's not my thing. It's not my award. It's not my plaque. It's ours. The team at UV and every single one of you lot watching at home. I've posted it up to share with everyone, and all the comments coming in are just insane. In just loads of love. And I said, you know what? Road to 1 million. You've got to believe. And then somebody tweeted me and said, I don't mean to be rude, Flair.
I saw this.
I want to big this guy up. I want to big up CJ because this is important. Someone messaged me, tweeted me and said, I don't mean to be rude, Flex, quite polite, but I think 1 million's unrealistic. And I thought, that's exactly what I needed. So I screenshotted that, and I'm going to look back on that in, I don't know, 6 years or so, 7 years, 10 years, 5 years, 3. Who knows? Who knows? But I believe.
You've saved it and you've put it in your back pocket, and that's what you have to do.
Put it into the atmosphere as well.
Yeah, we have opened a couple of shows in the last couple of weeks, or certainly I have, in revisiting certain clips and certain things, and that's what you need to do. When you see it at the time, you think, right, I'm saving that one, I'm putting that in the pocket for later, and you can revisit it. So hopefully we will revisit that whenever it does happen. You know, it's not going to be overnight, but whenever it happens, you never know.
Lux Hill says, bring it to the party. I want to take a pic with it. It will be at the party. It will be at the party.
It'd be like one of those things, you know, when you go to those, like, I don't know, football matches or whatever, and they take a picture of the Premier League trophy. It'll be there on its little pedestal.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
It's going to be like that. That's going to be a lot of fun. Exactly. But we've got a lot of transfer news to talk about as well this evening, starting off with a rejection. Then we're going to get into quite a lot of departures as well. So there's so much going on as the era of Erik ten Hag is just about to begin. Let's start off talking about Darwin Nunes, who's been linked with Manchester United for a while now in our search for a striker. But it looks like Nunez is not going to be heading to Manchester United. And at least, he's decided reportedly to turn us down. This comes from, and again, I'm going to butcher the pronunciation, but we'll try. Loic Tanzi, I feel confident with that, has reported, and he's from RMC Sport, which is an outlet based in France, saying that Manchester United have been rejected by Darwin Nunes, Benfica's Uruguayan striker Darwin Nunes. Apparently, he has refused to play for both Manchester United and Newcastle, who are both interested in him, preferring to play in the Champions League again next season. Now, when it comes to the actual amount that United would have been willing to spend on him, this is when it gets really, really significant, because Manchester United would have been ready to bid 80 million euros to afford Nunez, but the prospect of not playing in the Champions League next season is holding back the player. Flex, what do you make of Nunez saying, no, I don't want to go to United, they're not in the Champions League? And what do you make of 80 million?
Yeah, there's a lot to get into here. The first bit, because that's the bit where my ears pricked up, you know, losing out on a player we'll get to in a minute, and why. 80 million euro. I would like to think that bit of the report's not accurate. Like we always say, these are not 100% confirmed. These are the latest transfer rumors. Rumors. If Man United was going to spend 80 million euros on Darwin Nunes, then good. We just spoke about this morning and yesterday about how important it is to look at what the Frankie de Jong situation is, and Barca want to recoup the 65, and we've already told them, the reports are we've told them no. So if we've told them no, why would we then be willing to spend 80 million on Darwin Nunes, who's equally or is relatively, I'm not going to say the word unproven, but in the Premier League unproven. Do you know what I mean? Big risk. Risk. Young, up and coming. Absolutely. At least Frankie de Jong has, been at Barca and played, and he's got higher
stages
stock.
of the Champions League.
Last stages of the Champions League of Ajax. He's definitely got more stock and more experience than Darwin Nunes. And I know they're different players and you pay for goals and stuff like that. I get that. But that's the first bit. 80 million. That's insane. So on a plus side, good. Thank God we said no. If that was hopefully we wasn't. No, we were actually trying to do it. So thank God he said no. Thank God he said no. He's done us a favor. But on him saying no, that is very telling of where we are. That is why we have to get real. That is why we have to understand where we are. You know, there's only so far that the badge can carry us. You know, we've been absolutely shocking since Sir Alex Ferguson left the football club, but still, because of the weight of the badge and the fan base around the world, we can bring in big commercial deals, generate huge sums of money, and be in for relatively big players. You know, in a time where we've been crap, we've managed to get Paul Pogba. Okay, Zlatan's aging, but he's a big name. Lukaku, big name at the time. Big fee. We've got
Di Maria.
who else? Di Maria. You know, Falcao. Okay, cool. That was injuries enough, but Di Maria was, you know, in his pomp then. You know, we've got some big players. Ronaldo, Sancho. You know, Varane. So these are not crap players, but now we're in a position where, you know, not getting a Champions League just shows us, yeah, you can laugh at Arsenal and teams that are not in the Champions League, say we're always bigger than them and all that. We're shopping for the same amount of players. Yeah, if we go toe-to-toe for a player with Arsenal, yeah, okay, we've got a high chance of winning because we can give them more money or more wages and stuff. But it doesn't change the fact that we're shopping in the same shop. You know what I mean? We're all in Lidl's, mate. We're all in Lidl's or Aldi. And other big up other ones, you know, there's others out there. But
I enjoy that you put the S on the end. I enjoy you put the S on the end of Lidl, because that's the exact same. Because that's the exact same thing that my mum says. My mum says the exact same thing. Just gonna pop to Lidl's. Doesn't have an S on it. Yeah,
it is Lidl. It is Lidl. But you know, we're in a lot of them. It's plural, so it's Lidl's, it's Lidl's. There's Lidl's. Do you know what I mean? We're not in Waitrose, bro. We're not in Marks and Spencers. We're not. So at the end of the day, it shows that how far we've fallen. But also, you look at Newcastle; he's rejected them as well. We're in the same pool as Newcastle players. Yeah, because again, 100%. Money's not an issue. Money's not an issue. But at least we're in Europe and they're not, and obviously still Man United. But in years to come, in seasons to come, immediate seasons to come, the next 1 or 2 seasons, I said it yesterday on a couple of shows. You got to watch out for Newcastle as well. So yeah, him saying no is not a surprise. But with us supposedly, in inverted commas, willing to spend 80 million. Dodge the bullet, because we just can't afford to do that. We can't afford to do that with what we've got.
Super chat from Mikolo says United view to a milli. Yes, that's what we're looking at for the future.
Yes, man. Why not?
And also another super chat says, "Is it true we are close to signing De Jong?" I mean, who knows?
Who knows, honestly, bro?
Who knows? That what's his name? Jared Romero was very strong coming out of the blocks with that one going 95%. He's backed off a little bit. I have no sources. This is my kind of feeling.
Yeah.
I don't think we're particularly close to signing him. I think we want to. I don't think De Jong wants to. I'm not even sure Barca want to. Does that mean we're close to signing the player? Probably not. So I don't know about that one. When it comes to the Nunez one, I think it's an indictment as to where Manchester United are right now. You mentioned those players in the past. For instance, when we signed Angel Di Maria, didn't work out, obviously, with him. But when we signed him, he was the man of the match in the Champions League final that summer. He was, Juventus won, Real Madrid won La Decima, and he played phenomenal in that. And then we signed him. We thought, great. We weren't in the Champions League, that transfer window, because that was Louis van Gaal's first transfer window. But at the time, and we've had this a couple of times whenever we haven't qualified for the Champions League, we're still able to sign those big players, maybe because of money, but also because it's Man United. Yeah, they're not in the Champions League, but they'll be back next season. It will be fine. That's kind of changed now, I think. I think players are looking at United and saying, what, they're not in the Champions League next season? Who knows when they'll be back? Because they're looking at some of the players, they're looking at the squad, they're looking at the performances, and they're looking at the other clubs in the league as well. They're looking at Chelsea, they're looking at Spurs, they're looking at Newcastle, hey, looking at Arsenal, and they're saying, they're all playing better than United. So who's to say United are going to be better than them next season? So 100%. It's a risk. It's got to the point where a player like Nunez or a player like De Jong, they're thinking to themselves, hey, it's a bit of a risk if I go to United.
We're lucky we got Ten Hag, otherwise the De Jong thing would never be a thing.
Yeah, they're thinking legitimately, well, I could go to United, and big club, great fan base, history, great coach, but I'd be, it's no guarantee we're going to be in the Champions League at the end of next season. Let's be honest. Not at all. Yeah. No guarantee. And
he knows he's not going to be the main striker this year.
Exactly. And so we're relying on other aspects. We are relying on, come play for Ten Hag or come play with Ronaldo. It's got a lot of history, but I think our reputation in terms of players' eyes, younger players' eyes, has somewhat changed, I think. And I think that means that whether you're a Frankie de Jong, whether you're a Darwin Nunes, maybe you do look at Manchester United a little bit differently. We don't, of course, as fans. Our perspective on United hasn't changed. You know, if any of us were offered to play for Manchester United, you do it in a heartbeat. But some of these players, that's a little bit different. And like you, I do think I sort of raise my eyebrow. I do the Rock impression with that one, with the 80 million euros, because at the same time we're saying to Barcelona, look, we're not giving you 65 million for Frankie de Jong because we've got 140 million euros to spend. Why then, on the other hand, are we going, but we'll spend 80 million euros for Darwin Nunes? We'll basically blow a real significant amount of our budget on one player.
Yeah, on a player less proven than de Jong.
Yeah, when we need 4 or 5 players. So I'm not sure about that one. If it means we're looking at other options, which I would assume we are, that's probably a good thing at this point, because I do think there are better value for money deals out there.
Yeah, there is. And that's the thing. We know, well, we were talking about it this morning. Nesta says Nunez probably got bad reviews from Cavani. Yeah, I don't think that probably would help, but, you know.
Yeah.
We were talking about it this morning with the, you know, proposed £140 million budget, or euros budget, whatever it is. And then saying player sales on top of that, you know, could boost it up. You know, Dean Henderson will talk about on the batch that could be leaving. Wan-Bissaka and Eric Bailly will talk about that. We want to try and get somewhere within 200 million to spend. You know, if you're spending 80 of that, you know, nearly half of that. And if we only have the 160, then it is. That's a big problem. That's a big problem because, and it's not someone that, like you said, is guaranteed. He'd still need time. He'd still need patience. He would have to understand he wouldn't be the main striker because Ronaldo's still here. So he's still going to start majority of games. Not as much as he did this year, hopefully, but he's still the main guy. He's Ronaldo. Do you know what I mean? Otherwise, Ronaldo would be off as well if he didn't think he would still be the number one guy, even though he's, you know, there's reports that he's comfortable with another striker coming in, which is good, which is a good thing. But we need a very specific type of striker. We need one, like you said, he's going to be able to consider all them aspects. Not in the Champions League. No guarantee of even getting in the Champions League. Second fiddle to Ronaldo a lot of the time. In and out the side. Do you know what I mean? So we need a specific striker. And if Darwin Nunes is saying he doesn't want to come to the club because we're not in Champions League and that's it, done, fine. And also, that's what we deserve. That's what we deserve. Yeah, that's what we deserve for how bad we've been.
And also, as well, a bit like with the Frankie de Jong one, I'm kind of done trying to convince players to join us. If they don't want to join us, then fine. You know, that's what if you are a competent scouting department, that's why you have a short list of several players. And also, maybe we, again, whilst we're not in the Champions League, maybe we need to be looking at that profile of player. Like, again, I hate to always compare to like Liverpool, but like when Liverpool signed someone like Sadio Mane, he's in the Premier League. You know, he wasn't playing Champions League football because he's at Southampton, but it's a player looking to make a step up. It's a player looking to develop. We probably need to be looking at that kind of player
100%.
That's willing, that's young and willing to sort of, again, take a couple of years to eventually get into Europe and eventually then do bigger things. So if he doesn't want to come, you don't want to come, then I'm fine with it. To be honest, you know, I'm not getting attached. I'm not getting attached to anyone. Watermelon Man says the sound you hear every time Liverpool signs a new player, click. There you go.
It just happens, isn't it? Yeah, they just arrive.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Ian Lowe says, I have a 3-year badge for being a YouTube member of a certain Man United a YouTube fan channel. If they can reach 1 million subs, United View can reach 2 million subs with the eyes emoji.
Believe, Ian. Big up, man. Big up. That's what I'm saying. Reaching 1 million subscribers is an amazing achievement for any channel. So big up to anyone who's achieved that. Reaching 10K is so difficult. Reaching 50K, 100K is really difficult. So big up to, do you know what? Actually, just big up to anyone and everyone just doing their thing, you know, trying to build their platforms and stuff like that. It's tough. So yeah, big up, man.
Yeah, it's a grind. You have to be consistent and, you know, people don't just come for nothing at the end of the day, right? So it's like you said, everyone works hard and everyone does their own thing, and everyone deserves to be congratulated for doing so. But going back to transfers and talking about one player that isn't going to be coming, there's plenty of players that look to be leaving this summer. Let's start off. Let's try and do it from the front to back to front. I'll start with the goalkeeper. I was confusing myself with that one, Flex. I was thinking, start from the back. Yeah, start with back to front. Yeah, let's start with Dean Henderson. That's what we're going to start with. Samuel Luckhurst from the Manchester Evening News said that Manchester United goalkeeper Dean Henderson is on the verge of joining Newcastle United. Sources say Henderson was in Newcastle for talks on Wednesday, and the deal is 99% done. Now, it is understood that discussions have been held over a season-long loan, but a permanent transfer has not been ruled out. Eric Ten Hag appears to have decided to retain David De Gea as United's #1 goalkeeper. Now, obviously, Flex, not a shock, not surprising. I think everyone assumed that Henderson was going to be going this summer. The big debate was going to be, I think everyone actually assumed that Henderson was going to be going to Newcastle this summer.
Yeah,
and not just going to Newcastle. That was the only really one place he'd been linked to. The interesting thing now is that it looks likely to be a loan. Permanent transfer hasn't been ruled out. What do you make of the departure, and what kind of transfer would you prefer? Would you prefer permanent, or would you prefer the loan deal?
Permanent
For the cash?
Yeah. I know it might sound a bit short-sighted, because someone could say, and rightly so, in 3 years or 2 years, or after De Gea doesn't, do well in the Ten Hag system with his feet and all that, all the criticism it's labelled at De Gea as to why he's not the long-term solution with someone like a Ten Hag, they could argue that, that's when you're going to need Henderson, and you're going to have to go pay premium for that. But I just think we have to live in the moment. We have to back Ten Hag and give him as much resources as possible. May I add, though, if that resource looks like Ten Hag's had a look at him already and says, I will be going with De Gea, but I want the club to loan him because I want to have a look at this in a year's time. Yeah. Not opposed to it. Again, it's about backing the manager, innit, and saying what he wants. I very much doubt that he would look at Henderson and say, oh, he's better with his feet than he is, than De Gea is. Actually, keep him. He's going to be my #1. I don't think that's going to happen. And also, I think Dean Henderson, we know about, his position and how he views himself. He's very confident in his ability. Some people may say cocky and what have you done and all that. But to be fair, I actually respect him. Because in terms of he backs his own ability and he thinks he should be #1. So I'm just going to leave. Cool. Because I don't think he should be our #1. I don't think he's better than De Gea. So De Gea should be #1. But if you want to back yourself as a professional footballer, especially, as a keeper, you've been a keeper, at a good level, you need personality. You need to, and you can't, it's not like a player where, you can bide your time, you're getting appearances off the bench, and keepers just, you need to go somewhere and be #1. So if he wants to go, not phased at all, we go and get a substitute keeper. Sam Johnson's thing still knocking about.
Thing is,
fantastic
subs. Let's be honest, we've got enough goalkeepers at the club anyway. It also said, Samuel Luckhurst did say in that article that when Tom Heaton came in and rejoined United last summer, it was actually under the assumption he was going to probably be the #2, and two main goalkeepers were going to leave. At the time, the club was apparently indicating to him, De Gea is probably likely to go, because it is weird with the De Gea Henderson situation, because we do kind of sometimes forget that there was this kind of, in Ollie's last full season at the club, whilst De Gea came back in at the end, when it came to like the Europa League final, there was this sort of working assumption that we were going to go into this new season and Henderson was probably going to be the #1, right? And that was maybe, or we didn't really know that answer. Yeah. And it was, because Henderson had COVID in the pre-season, and when he did come in for a short period of time towards the latter end of last season in those games against the likes of Liverpool, Old Trafford, it really stood out that maybe he wasn't ready for that spot yet, or maybe he wasn't what we thought he potentially could be. And then De Gea has a really good season, so Henderson's position now becomes a case of, well, even if you do back yourself, or even if there are people that like you, just De Gea for me this season, he has been undroppable. He has.
He's been the best.
You can't say he hasn't. And this year is a World Cup year as well. Henderson's thinking to himself, look, I've got to play, otherwise forget, starting 11 England. I just want to make the squad at this point. I just want to travel.
He needs to be playing. Yeah, he needs to be
playing. Qatar. So he's going to be thinking that. When it comes to a move to Newcastle, he's also going to be thinking, I tell you what, they're a club on the rise. They'll be able to afford my wages. He's on 110k a week, which is a lot for a backup keeper.
A lot for someone who hasn't proved anything. It's madness.
Exactly. But he's going to be thinking Newcastle can afford that. And also, that's a club that is, for whatever reasons, that is going places. So that would be a good move for him. Like you, I'm not particularly concerned or worried about it.
No.
Ideally, you probably would prefer a permanent deal, just again for financial reasons, to get a bit more money into the bank for Ten Hag to spend this summer. But if it's a loan deal, I've said before that I'm not opposed, or I don't disagree with people that say that like De Gea is not the long-term option for Man United in goal, or eventually do we need to find a keeper that's better when it comes to distribution, or whatever. I don't disagree with that, and I have said like maybe in like 2 years' time, that is absolutely a conversation to have, and say we maybe need to find a keeper that's better with his feet and is a bit more progressive coming off his line and is younger. But as of right now, it's just not the conversation to have. Maybe a loan move kind of puts Henderson back in that conversation in a year's time. Maybe that's why
he might come prove himself.
Maybe that's what he's thinking.
Yeah.
You never know.
You look at it as well, going to the Newcastle, it's like it's a good one for them. Like it fits. It fits with what they're trying to do. And Dubravka's quite good. Do you know what I mean?
Good goalkeeper,
He's a good goalkeeper. So, he's obviously going to get assurances he's going to be number one. Keeps that kind of British contingent going, the English players. You look at where they're building with Dan Burn, Trips, it'd be him, Target. That's real Eddie Howish, isn't it? Like, do you know what I mean? Like that core, Callum Wilson up front. I feel like that's something that will fit. And Dean Henderson's got big personality. Newcastle are on the ascendancy. I think they're going to be a problem next season. So yeah, I just if Ten Hag though does decide don't sell him, because I think there's something there that I haven't really got time to do that right now, because that's really what you say. Ten Hag don't have time to look at the keeper situation, really. No, I don't believe. I think there's so much other things to fix. Like I said, he needs a couple of constants, and he's got 2 constants guaranteed, which is De Gea and Ronaldo. You've got goals, and you've got, I don't want to say clean sheets because that depends on the defense as well, but you've got goals and you've got shot stopping.
We've got second most saves in the Premier League this season. That's what you've got.
Well, there you go. Probably because he got peppered a lot as well. But do you know what I mean? We saw the saves, big saves he's come up with this year.
Yeah.
You've got that. So, like I said, a million times, if you're Eric Ten Hag, you look at the top end of the pitch and the bottom end of the pitch, and you say those are 2 really experienced guys. One's the GOAT, so I don't need to talk about that. And one is David De Gea, who's been here a long time and showed that he's a fantastic shot stopper. I'll work with that. Then in 18 months, 2 years, whatever you want to call it, he starts looking back at Henderson. You might want to keep him. So it makes sense, but I'm all for the 40 million, mate. Give me the 40 million. Let me put it in the kitty. I'll worry about a keeper in 2 years when, fingers crossed, we're back in the Champions League. We're playing good football, and a young keeper will want to come to us. We can go and get a keeper then. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Exactly. Stewie Pope says, exactly. I don't know why we can't go for decent players from other Premier League clubs. I think sometimes the problem is, Stewie, and I do agree, because you can say other clubs have done it. The only problem is nowadays purchasing from Premier League clubs is that just because of being in the Premier League itself, most clubs are financially pretty stable. So, when it comes to trying to buy players from any other club, it's always expensive. Like, it's almost like gone are the days of United going to those sort of clubs that are a bit lower down the league and saying, we'll take your best player for 40 million. But just because of the sheer amount of money that's in the Premier League from television rights and owners, they can go, no. Like, you're going to have to literally give us 80 million because we can afford to keep them. It's only the only thing that changes that now in the Premier League is contracts. When you've got a year left, clubs panic.
They have to
that's
sell.
That's the only thing that changes that now. But I do agree we should be looking towards that.
Sorry.
Always go back. Mikolo says, who would you take, Timber and Lissandro, or Timber and Anthony? You can answer that one, Flex.
Do you like Martinez? I like Anthony though, man. He does look good. He gives me like positive vibes coming off that right hand side onto his left foot. Quite explosive, good feet.
But what do we need more, though?
Yeah, that's what I was just about to say. I think we're kind of... You can argue we're not stacked with massive quality in the wide areas. Like, you look at what Rashford's putting up. Alanga's on his way up. You can say the only genuine, Martial probably on his way out. So if you look at it like that, it's like saying you're going to put all your eggs on Marcus Rashford again to come back up. So you could argue we do need more quality there. But I would probably say Timber and Sandra, just because we've got to get that CDM. We have to.
Punjabi says, Flex, you're saying we can player for 80 million, then what are your 5 signings for 200 million? And disagree if we sign a forward, it is going to be near 80 million.
So we can. So you're saying what are your 5 signings for 200 million? Right.
Yeah, and I think he's also saying, or they're also saying that if we're going to sign a striker, it's always going to be around that 80 million mark.
I disagree. I disagree with that bit, Punjabi. Thanks for the super chat. Like of saying that if we sign a striker, it has to be near 80 million. I think we can find a striker for half that. Why not? Why can't we? Like, I'm not the scout. This is their job to do, But there's you can't tell me that there's not an attainable striker for 40 to 50 million pounds. Do you know what I mean? And say with the 200, we just went for 4 players at 50 M's each, like as an average.
Yeah.
You could do that, and that would be
City
4 decent quality. Yeah,
City do that quite a lot.
Exactly. That'll be well within the realms of possibility, So, and then you spike a little bit, so one player might cost 70, but you might get another player for 25. Do you know what I mean? So, I just think there's definitely more value in the market out there than getting Nunez for 80 million, in my opinion.
And also, I'm almost a little bit tired of just being this Man United we've been in the last decade of let's just throw money at the problem.
Exactly.
Let's actually be a bit wise about it. Let's
Why not get a project, get a young kid, build him up,
And again, we're dealing with our own mistakes here. We're dealing with the fact that we didn't qualify for the Champions League. So, we have to deal with that. And we have to find players that that are happy to not play in the Champions League. That's on us. As a club, you have to deal with those issues. Speaking of also other departures, let's go into now defence, because there could be quite a few this summer. Let's start off with the fullback position, because this comes from Dharma Chef over there at Sky Sports. It says Manchester United will allow defender Aaron Wan-Bissaka to leave this summer. KG, if you're watching. It is thought he doesn't figure in Erik ten Hag's plans. United would prefer a permanent deal, but wouldn't rule out a loan provided it comes with a serious option or obligation to buy. Shocked, surprised, or not really, Flex?
No surprise. I mean, think about it. We were trying to get Trippier. We were trying to get Trips, and he didn't come right up to the last minute. That shows you they decided that was the end of last summer, wasn't it? And it didn't quite work, or was it last January? Not this January, just gone.
Summer. It was the summer.
Was it actually summer?
There's definitely stuff in the summer, but it was less so about Wan-Bissaka. It was more about Dalot, like Dalot leaving, and then Trippier was going to come in. And then we were saying at the time, in fairness, I remember saying at the time, both of us, that you think Trippier is going to come in to be backup to Wan-Bissaka. He's not. 100%. He's going to play way more games.
Not a chance, because he's better than Wan-Bissaka and Dalot put together. He is. Trippier is. But it doesn't surprise me that even Ollie and them guys made their mind up a little bit trying to change that position, because they thought, Dalot's not really it. Wan-Bissaka's not tearing up trees. Just spent 50 million on him. It's something that it's never a personal thing. When he come, and I'll be really honest. And this is what I'm learning. Which is why I'm really skeptical about someone who's had a good season at a club lower in a division, or a smaller club, or another English player. That's why I'm really skeptical, because I was one of the ones when we got Wan-Bissaka. I watched him at that year at Palace. He'd done really well, and I was when we were linked with him, I was like, that's a good. We need that, man. Good in a tackle, quick. I remember doing his first game against Inter Milan. It was in Singapore, in the Singapore National Stadium, and he played a mate. He was Wan-Bissaka-ing. He was running up and down, sliding everywhere, going past people. And I remember thinking, wow, what a breath of fresh air that is. Like, wow, that is what we need. And in his first season, he's done pretty good, done okay. But slowly but surely, it started unraveling the flaws in his game, the levels, the gears that he couldn't go up, the fundamentals that you just can't teach. You just can't teach. And some people who see football in a different way would have looked at Wan-Bissaka right from the start. Big up Ricky, and other people, before he even come, saying, nah, don't take him from Palace. He's not it. I had a couple of friends. They played the game good level. My boy, he was like, listen, I'm telling you now, Wan-Bissaka ain't it. And you're going to be saying it in a couple of years. Watch, he's awful. And now you look. So, look, it's something that has to happen. I wish him well, but he's just not up to that level. He's just not up to what a modern day fullback needs to be. If the benchmark is Trent, Reece James, Lamptey, Cucurella, Robertson, Cancelo, Walker. The list goes on. The list goes on. If that's the benchmark, nowhere near it.
I think also as well, we signed a fullback, like you said, like Wan-Bissaka was more traditional, shall we say, fullback, and maybe not the best traditional fullback, but we signed a traditional fullback. And then over the period of time in which we signed him, the fullback position then just suddenly evolved into something completely different that Wan-Bissaka can't do. Because you look at people like Trent, like Robertson, like Cancelo, like Reece James, they do things he's not capable of. And because that position has become almost like the most specialist position on the pitch, a fullback at this point. You have to be able to literally do everything. You can not just defend, not just attack. You have to have an ability to pass, to cross, to do everything. You literally have to be a complete player now to be a modern day fullback or wing back. And Wan-Bissaka just isn't that. Like you said, the fundamentals, the technicals, he just can't do. Punjabi says, as a follow-up, you tell me which one is there for a 50 million striker.
You tell me now.
Yeah.
Well, okay. I'm not suggesting we go. I know. I'm not suggesting we go for this player, right? I'm not saying that we should get him. But Gabriel Jesus is about to leave Manchester City. Yeah. He'll be worth about between 40 million and 50 million. Premier League proven. I know he's tipped to go to Arsenal. He might even say no because they're not in the Champions League. But what I'm saying is he's got pedigree. He's proved he can do it in this league, you know? So I don't want Richarlison, but he's a player that's got goals in this league. He's tipped. He's rumoured. No way he costs 80 million. You know,
I'm sure there are some strikers from I don't know them off the top of my head, but I'm sure there are strikers saying like in the Bundesliga 100%. That would cost you 50 million or something like that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, there's players all over the place. I mean, people say Isak, you know, in Spain, he was going to go to Arsenal at one stage. I just think there's players out there. There's, you know, Scamacca,
and it depends on contracts.
Yesterday.
Schick, depends on contracts as well.
Schick,
you know
what happened to him? Exactly, contracts.
Zotang TV says, don't buy from Premier League clubs. Don't people realise we get ripped off? Slabhead 80 million, Aaron Wan-Bissaka 50 million. It's a scam. Get away from the Brexit players. Well, that's kind of my point I was making earlier. Not necessarily about the English players, but more so when you're buying from Premier League clubs. Unless their player is running out of time on their contract, they really don't have a prerogative to sell because most are very financially stable. Just the amount of sheer money that's in the Premier League. So gone are the days of United going to a club and going, here's 30 million. They go, oh my God, we'd never be able to 30 million. You've got mid-table clubs now buying players for 40 million, 50 million.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
You know, Newcastle, let's be honest, Newcastle, even under Mike Ashley, when he was putting no money into the club, could still buy a Joelinton for 40 million.
Yeah.
That's insane. You know?
Mad. Joelinton, what a revelation, by the way. What a guy. What a guy.
Crazy.
One of the best eights in the league.
He is, honestly, like it really opened my eyes when he played against us at St. James's Park earlier on this year. That was like the first time I think that I literally, because he's been doing that really ever since. But I remember in that game, it was like, what happened to Joelinton? Like, what happened to him?
Before the game,
oh my God.
Obviously, Jamal got us tickets for the game, right? So we was chilling there. I was talking about training and that. I was like, who's killing it in training? Like, what's it like? Just asking about players and that. And he was like, bro, Joelinton is on a madness. He said, you can't get the ball off him. Obviously, he said St. Maximum's a nightmare and all that. But after that, he was like, Joelinton's a beast. He said, watch what he does tonight. And I said to him, what's this thing about him playing centre mid? I saw him playing centre mid the other day. I said, you best not do that against us tonight. Sitting in his front of him, he goes, watch what he does. Bro, obviously was in in a neutral bit. They gave him a standing ovation at half time. Yeah. I nearly stood up and clapped him as well. Honestly, he was that good, and he's just been solid. It's mad, isn't it? Like
it really is.
Because it's just what he's done with him. Eddie Howe,
even the weird, found that. Even the weird thing, like just because he did it a couple of times at United, where he'll pick up the ball, say from like deep, and just run like 20 or 30 yards of it. Nobody's getting near him. They're like bouncing off him or whatever.
Powerful.
It's
here's an uncomfortable one for you. Here's an uncomfortable one for you, which football YouTube, goes crazy when they hear things like this, but you have to listen to the context. That's what we wanted Paul Pogba to be doing.
Yeah.
Affecting games like that. So the sensationalist will say, oh, you're trying to say that Joelinton is better than... No, but what I'm saying is as an effective number 8, he was doing the things that I'm looking at Pogba. I want you to grab the ball and drive past people and people can't get near you. It's mad.
Yeah. And let's be honest, Pogba had his games where he might do that once every 10, 15 games. You go, oh my God, Paul Pogba, that's what he can be. But just never saw it enough. Nate H says, why was De Gea dropped by Spain? Because he's a shot stopper, not a modern goalkeeper that's going to play on the edge of his box and sweep. Well, certainly, Nate, I would say that Luis Enrique's probably come to that conclusion. Luis Enrique's got a certain way of playing and he's going to play it. I would argue, though, that the Spain team on paper, the Spain team is a better team than Manchester United. So it would be a priority. When other positions you go, that's not really an issue. That's not really an issue. They've got a load of really good young players coming through Spain now. That sort of gap they've had between generations, we go, Spain aren't that good anymore. Give it a couple of years because they're looking strong. So then the goalkeeper position does turn into, okay, well, that's maybe a key thing we have to fix. United at the moment, I just don't think it is. Kadir says, Owen, when did you get so jacked? LOL. You should get Bassi from Rangers, left centre back. Did you see that performance last night in the Europa League final? Yeah. There were a couple of players that I thought played really well for Rangers. And to answer your question, Kadir, I'm not. It's all superficial. It's all superficial. I'm just a tall guy.
Saying you just like massive and like getting strong and just cut and jacked.
I'm just a tall guy. I've got broad shoulders. Mate. That's it.
They're seeing it. They're seeing it all, mate. They're seeing it all. Community spoken, bro.
Well, it ain't. I'm telling you now. It ain't.
He was good, though.
Really not. He was good. He was good. And there'll be players in that Rangers side that get picked off now. 100%.
Yeah. Tavernier is good as well.
Yeah. Adam says, do you think we should go for Lema around 20 million euros? Flex?
20 million is not a bad shout. Do you know what I mean? But it just depends. Like I said, Champions League, innit? Champions League. It's whether these players want to come and buy into what Ten Hag's doing.
No, exactly. And finally, Mikolo says, would you take Max Aaron from Norwich at right back?
Nah, not for me. Not for me.
Yeah,
I think he's better than Wan-Bissaka, but still not it for me. I know people might say you're crazy because everyone buys into a lot of hype and stuff like that. I've got a lot of players on my radar that I see everybody else proper rate, and I'm like, don't do it for me. I've got quite a few of them.
Yeah,
quite a few of them. He's one.
Yeah, and also though, it must be said though, if Erik ten Hag has said to people or Wan-Bissaka himself, he's not part of the plans, that would imply we're definitely going to get a right back this summer, would it not?
Yeah.
So that kind of points us in that direction. And I don't know if that right back is Timber. It must be said as well. I wouldn't be surprised if it was more, again, of that specialist right back. We don't know who that is yet, but I would say keep an eye out on that in the next couple of days. Also, there's over 1,700 people watching, so smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. And
we need Josh. Sorry, just quickly, before we carry on. I don't know if Josh is watching and if he can do this. We need Josh to upload that Mick Phelan pause thing into here. Because this is the bit where we would pause, 1,700 watching. I know there's not like over 500 likes, I bet. I haven't checked. But let's...
Yeah, I like it when he interrupts. I like it when he interrupts. And a little new addition this week in the Flex and KG show is him talking. I mean, so close into the microphone. It was like he was inside your head. He was going, hey, guys. You know what he's like? Hey, guys. Well. Make sure you click that like button. No.
Yeah.
All that kind of stuff.
That's a good Josh impression.
Well, I get those voice notes. Well.
Yeah.
It's even started to rub off on me as I was saying this when I was doing the match view for the Youth Cup game the other night. Is I keep ending my sentences now with because that's what he does.
Yeah.
Oh, it's bleeding into my everyday life, and it's becoming a major problem. Like to the point of I'll say something, and I'll start going,
Get it out.
He does it all the time. Oh, it does it all the time, so it started to bleed in. So yes, smash a like on the like button, subscribe bottom right hand corner, and also I was leaning into my big advertising pitch there, Flex, for our 1 year anniversary and 100K celebration party. The links to those tickets are in the description box below. So if you haven't already, you can go there, get your tickets. Flex is going to be there on the decks, returning out of retirement to doing a bit of DJing. Yeah. The flex is going to return. That's what you do, apparently, as a
100%.
DJ.
100%.
I'm going to be there, just standing there, I guess.
No, you're gonna be on the dance floor
As an attraction, like a zoo or something like that. I'm going to be
come and meet
behind.
Owen. Come take your
I'm
picture
going to
with
be
Owen
behind.
and keep it moving.
I'm going to be behind glass, sitting there in my spinny chair like this, and people will be taking pictures. Marcel, you get to stand next to him and be taller than him. It's going to be great. And there's going to be lots of different attractions. Going to be a nice side. So there's going to be a boxing ring for KG and Cam. They're going to be fighting. Actually, forget that. An octagon. It's going to be UFC style. They're going to be doing all kinds of MMA stuff to each other.
Them two in the same room. Oh my days.
Exactly. That's going to be a lot of fun. So, yes, if you do want to join us, the link's in the description box below, and you can get your tickets there. Continuing with transfers and outgoings, it's not just Wan-Bissaka as a defender that looks likely to leave this summer. Manchester United are prepared to let Eric Bailly go this summer. This one comes from Fabrizio Romano. It depends on proposals, but they don't. Both him and Wan-Bissaka have opportunities to leave the club. Bailly, again, not a shocking one, let's be honest. How much do you reckon we can fetch for Eric Bailly?
Between 15 and 18.
You reckon? Do you think? Because he's still got. I mean, it's mad, but a significant amount of time on his contract.
Yeah, he does, because he only bloody just signed one last year because Ollie made him do it.
Exactly.
Or he listened to Ollie or whatever. But yeah, at 20 absolute tops, I'm saying. That's maximum for me. A lot of people are saying 15 to 20, 10 to 15, 25, 30 million. We bought him for 30 million. We ain't getting that, I don't think.
No.
Yeah, I've got to put a bit of Man United tax on it just because you can say he's played for Man United. But I'm saying 20 at the 20 with add-ons. So like 17 rising to 20 if he does X, Y, Z. Max.
Yeah.
Max. And that's being kind. I'm more inclined to say between 15 and 18.
I would think it might be something like 15, to be honest. And the problem is with these kind of situations is other clubs know that. United just don't have such a difficult negotiation, isn't it? Because if a club came in and they went, "We'll give you 10 million euros for Eric Bailly," and you'd go, that's too little. It's too little. Those clubs would be like, "Okay, I know for a fact I can come back at the end of the transfer window and you'll take that money." Because not a lot of other people will come in for a lot higher than that, And as people are saying in the chat, the injury issue, I feel that at least most top European clubs or European clubs have a competent scouting network that will be more than aware of Eric Bailly's injury issues, and they'd be thinking, I don't know about that. So whilst it's, again, good to just get those players out the door, and it's not surprising, I don't know about you, Flex, but even people, when it says like Bailly or people like Phil Jones, we're saying here, they'll go in the summer. I'm still at a point where I'm like, I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah,
honestly.
Exactly. We've been told so long that we're moving on from the likes of those players, but they never ever seem to go. But I'm going to stick my neck out on the line here. Surely, Phil Jones has got to go. I saw Andy Mitten saying he's expected to leave. Surely now. And I would also say surely Eric Bailly's going to go as well. Because we're in for a centre-back. We know that. If we go and get Jurriën Timber, or who's the other I'm looking at? Martinez. Yeah. Or Pau Torres, or whoever it may be.
Yeah.
Kunde, whatever. You never know. Sometimes this transfer window does a madness. But if we bring in any other form of centre-half, how many more signs does Eric Bailly need to show that, he's just never going to get given that chance? Varane came in ahead of him. Lindelof's still ahead of him. Do you know what I mean? Phil Jones was getting games ahead of Eric Bailly this year. Let's not forget that. When he played against Wolves and when he played against... Who did he come on against? Liverpool?
He started a Liverpool game, didn't he? He started against Liverpool.
Oh, he started 2022.
Yeah, in 2022, Phil Jones started against Liverpool.
But Ralph trusted him more in that moment to play against Liverpool at Anfield. Yeah, we got dusted, but that tells Eric Bailly everything, that he has no future here, unless Ten Hag comes and does an absolute madness that none of us see coming. I can't see
tired of that.
Exactly. So surely he's got to leave. Surely.
Yeah, I'm tired of those conversations. Super chat from Adam says thoughts on Henderson going on loan to Newcastle. Touched on it earlier on in the stream, but I think me and Flex both said that again. It's not surprising. Good deal for
Yeah.
United. Ideally, you'd hope that it'd be a permanent deal for the finances, but I can understand maybe both parties being like Henderson and United being like, well, you never know. And it might be a case of look, Eddie Howe has said, despite them having the most money in the league, they are still going to be subject to FFP, whatever that really is, financial fair play,
Who
but they are
knows
going to
anymore?
be subject to that. So there might be a case of they have to do a loan deal because it's next year that they can spend 40 million on Dean Henderson and involve his wages as well, because they did spend a significant amount of money in January, and it does count to the overall spend for the last 12 months. So that might be something to consider as well. Mikolo says, what do you guys think about Tomori? I rate him. Look, I really like Tomori. I think him not being involved in the England squads recently has been ridiculous. The guy's about to win Serie A. And like,
Mad.
you know, no disrespect to some of the players that are in the England squad, but it's just wild. As opposed to United buying him, like, came from Chelsea. I don't think there's a buyback clause either in that one for Chelsea, which is a bit of a
I'm not
strange one.
sure. Yeah, but he's only just, this is the first year that move's permanent, isn't it? This year, so it would cost a lot being English as well. If we tried to get him, it definitely cost a lot.
Yeah, but he's a good player. Definitely.
He is. Here's one for you. The Mirror, David McDonald's reporting that Man United have scrapped the club's annual Player of the Year ceremony. It is understood United players were too embarrassed to hold the black tie event following such a dismal campaign. The gala dinner, which is held at Old Trafford, is usually scheduled for the final fortnight of the season, but has not gone ahead this year. Players are said to have felt awkward at staging the do, which is why Man United bosses decided not to go ahead with it. Well, good. I remember I didn't get a school prom. I didn't get a prom at school because because my year group were little shits. They misbehaved all year. They were awful. The head of years and the head teacher was like, "You lot ain't getting a prom. You must be mad. You lot been awful this season. This school year."
Did they have a little team talk? Did they get you around like Phil Brown on the pitch? They're giving it you're not having a prom.
Little Jimmy Bullard. They said your attitude and behavior has stunk, and that wasn't everyone, because obviously I was always well behaved, head boy, and that.
Yeah, of course.
But but 100%, damn right. What are they going to do? Oh, what are they going to celebrate? What are they going to talk about? Exactly, 100%. That's the right thing. I'm glad.
Yeah, look. Can you imagine the reaction if they had it? Can you imagine showing up, the black tie, the smiling,
taking pictures of the red carpet, all of that,
celebrating? They can't, and they should be embarrassed. So yeah, absolutely, they shouldn't have one. Player of the year. It's obvious that it's either Ronaldo or De Gea. Probably Ronaldo would get it. He probably deserves it. But that doesn't require an entire ceremony.
No, just give it to him.
To achieve that.
Say you're player of the year.
Exactly. Yeah, that's all that it needs.
What's Ralph going to say? What do they do? Bring back Ollie for the first half and say you say that bit. Michael Carrick, you had 3 games. You talk a bit, and then Ralph, you take over. Talking about the players here are really good, and I've really enjoyed my time here.
Wow. Could you imagine? Could you imagine if Ralph? But again, they're probably concerned about giving Ralph, an open microphone and a glass of wine. Let's be honest. That's what they're concerned about. They're thinking. Remember when Louis van Gaal used to do it at the end of the season, and he was just going crazy.
Yeah,
they're thinking, and that's when we were doing, okay. Imagine what happened with Ralph. Ralph would just start. It turned into a roast. He'd just start roasting the entire everyone that's there. Oh, it'd be great. Put that on TV.
Can't happen.
No.
Can't happen. So that's the last little bit of news for you guys. There just came through that we've cancelled the. We've cancelled the end of season do, luckily.
Yeah.
So we won't have to go through it as fans, seeing us really called and pulled through the mud as fans. Because that's what would happen.
Did want to ask you, Flex, before we do wrap it up.
Yeah.
Because this is the thing that I know that KG would love. So Jurriën Timber's agency, Forza Sports Group's director, on Instagram, put up a story of him seemingly on a plane at an airport saying deal closing time ... Now, I was just thinking off the top of my head now, I bet someone's worked out what airport that is.
Yeah.
And...
But was it, you're saying, hold on. So, because I did see the picture, but I didn't really study it. Because, I don't really get into conspiracies. I just want to see once it's done. But is it his agency where they have a lot of players. So the agency that looks after
It
him
could be
will have loads
anything.
of players. They're
It
going to close the
might not
deal
have
for
anything
their
to do with.
new under-18s. He's just got one of their under-18 players just got his first professional contract at Verona.
Yeah, it might have nothing to do with any player. It might just be a branding deal. It could be anything. We don't know what it is.
Exactly.
You do get the impression it's like a United fans thing. We're like,
100%.
But like look, you never know. I remember the last time I was when I did my first studio show with you, and that day, Antonio Rudiger's agent put a picture of Old Trafford and was like, let's rebuild it back up or whatever. And at the time you said, is there anything to look into with that one? And I went, no. He's going to Real Madrid, negotiating thing, blah, blah, blah. Like a week later, here we go. He's going to sign for Real Madrid. So I don't think you can look too much into that kind of thing, but I'm sure KG would love it, right? For a fact, he's looking at that going, he's interested. So, yeah. Super Chat here says, big up United View and Flex vibes from the US.
Big up,
it always blows my mind when people watch Worldwide Flex. I always say that at the beginning of a stream.
It's crazy.
Like whenever you ask, where are you watching from? And you get all of these countries. We're just sitting in front of a computer.
I know. I know. It doesn't add up. When I see people in the street or when I've traveled to different countries and they recognize you and they say they love the content and they wish you well, just warms my heart, mate, honestly, because you just think like when you think of starting something, you have no idea how far it could go. Like no idea. Look at that. Germany, Zimbabwe, Canada.
Yeah.
Big up Jordan, Denmark, South Africa, Manchester, St. Lucia. Look at that. It's incredible. And sometimes you think like, look, Cambodia. Is it like? Do you think like, is this real? Like they actually are watching from there, aren't they? Like, they're not. That's what I mean. Senegal. You know what I mean?
I remember the first few times that I would do live streams on this channel, I'd be like, let us know where you're watching from. And honestly, for the first 5 minutes, I'd be like, I don't believe it.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't remember. It said it absolutely.
But what's amazing is that you see all of that. So I see St. Lucia, look, Wisconsin, Poland, etc., Trinidad and Tobago. And then you get like Hertfordshire, big up. Like you'll get like Croydon, like just local, like Jim West says Hertfordshire, UK, Southwest. So it's people that are kind of close in proximity to us. They've got Leicester there as well. So all UK. Then you've got people like super, super far away. Sick. Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. Big up to all of you guys.
It's amazing.
Big up.
Exactly. And it's only the beginning. It's only the beginning of really exciting stuff. As we wrap up, what's on tap for the weekend, Flex? Final game of the season on Sunday.
Shit, yeah. Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
I forgot about me too. I literally, when I was sort of prepping some stuff earlier, our last game was the Brighton game.
Yeah.
Like, that's the form we're going into this match in.
Yeah.
It was ages ago, but that's the form we're going into this one.
Yeah. Awful. I said we'll get dusted by them. We might get saved because Brighton might. I don't think they'll get beat by West Ham. Brighton are good at home, as we just saw. Last game of season for them. Maybe West Ham don't win that game because the point's not enough for them.
Yeah.
So even if we lose,
are you concerned about that with the
getting Conference League?
Yeah,
it's a bit embarrassing, but it's what we deserve. I don't really. I mean, Europa League. All right, Europa League's obviously better, but
yeah, I don't think it changes in terms of like we're talking about transfers earlier. That doesn't change anything. You know what I mean? If it's like, we were going to go for this player, they're not going to go. I was going to go to you when you were in the Europa League, but now you're in the Europa Conference League. I'm not sure about that one. Either way, we're playing on Thursdays next year. And I do look at, and I know it's very easy to say, but I do look at like last night, that Europa League final. People can say it's not a big competition and all that kind of stuff. And when you are in the group stage, look, it's not. I get that. But when you do get to the semi-final or the final like last night, you can't tell me that didn't feel like a big game. Well, it didn't have a great atmosphere.
Of course.
So,
we went to it last year and, obviously it was not full capacity. Was it full capacity? No, it wasn't. It wasn't full capacity.
It was limited, wasn't it? Yeah.
60, 70%. But it was a big game for Man United. It was one that we couldn't get over the line, So, and this is where we're at.
Exactly. It's where we're at. So, yeah, game day on Sunday. Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
We've got a Legends game on the weekend as well on Saturday. See if people are going to watch that. That'd be nice.
Yeah.
See some of the old guard come back and actually have a decent game at Old Trafford. So if anyone's going up to that, big up to you guys.
And it's for a great cause as well, is it not?
Great cause
I
for the Man
believe.
United Foundation, exactly. The tickets are going
Exactly.
to that. So yeah, hopefully everyone watches that, supports the old guard. Bit of fun before we get
Yeah,
absolutely smashed on Sunday.
I know. Just we can stop the season there. Exactly.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, look, we're out of here. Hope you have a good Thursday. We'll be back tomorrow. Press conference settings, match preview settings, I guess, as well. So one more game to go, and then the Eric Ten Hag era begins. We're out of here. Peace.